Hello. I've recently completed the platinum of Spider-Man 2, so this is just a recap of me getting the trophies in it. It is a massive game, so I'll not cover absolutely everything, but I'll show things that got me trophies, the things that I think are important, and also I'll just throw in a few things that I found fun. So I will be covering the story, so spoiler warning if you don't want to hear any of that. The game starts with a cutscene showing us our friend Harry is ill, but he is healing himself using something quite symbiote looking. Then, as the story starts, Miles is in school, and would you look at that, Peter has a job as his teacher. We can then start playing after these cutscenes though, and Peter and Miles team up to travel to fight Sandman. In this game you play as both Peter and Miles. They each have their own missions, and in the open world bits in between them you can switch between them as you like. And just like the previous Spider-Man games, the mechanics for swinging and fighting are both just incredibly enjoyable to do so. This one also now adds a new mechanic where you can also glide, and I just love how everything handles in this game. This is a much bigger boss fight to start the game than I expected, and there's lots of phases and enemies, and it's just a great start to the game. I really love this. You also get used to using gadgets when fighting, and using special attacks with Peter and his spider arms. He has these for a special attack, and when you're Miles he has his electric and venom moves as specials. They do both upgrade their special attacks as well as the story progresses. After the fight we get a little cutscene showing Kraven was hunting Sandman, but more importantly we get trophy number 1 for beating him. You're gonna need help. You can then free roam the city, but this led me to quickly getting my second trophy. After doing some tricks while swinging, I missed time and hit the floor and get trophy number 2, Splat. That was embarrassingly early to get that. I also managed to soon quickly tick off trophy number 3 though. I do some tricks correctly as Spider-Man and I got that pop for Hang 10. This is doing 30 tricks in a row without touching the floor. I'm also starting to unlock some side missions on the map. There are several districts, and as the story progresses more of these will become available to do. Early ones unlocked are the photo ops, where we take photos for our friend Robbie, and the other thing that I start working on are Marco's memories. These are remnants of the Sandman left behind from the fight, and it gives us an insight into what was going on with him prior to us beating him. I then use some of the tech points and city tokens I'd gained to get Miles and Peter some new suits, and there's trophy number 4 for doing this, Stylish. There are loads of suits for both that I unlock as I go on, and I do like changing these regularly, so you'll see me in several different looks as we play through. After this it was back to the main story, and Peter and Miles are helping transport the villains Scorpion and Martin Lee, or Mr. Negative. Unfortunately Kraven turns up for this, and a long fight ensues. Sadly for Scorpion, he doesn't survive this level, and it ends with Kraven kidnapping Martin Lee. I'm not going to go into detail on every mission on the game, especially ones like this where you don't get a trophy, but Martin Lee being kidnapped plays a big part later on, so it felt right to mention here. Soon after this we unlock some side missions. We unlock ones where Miles finds hideouts for his Uncle Aaron, or the Prowler. There's some fun side missions on our phone on the Friendly Neighbourhood Spider-Man app, and also some environmental missions. These have various things to do, like flying bee drones, or this one here where I'm doing a gene sequencing puzzle. The next memorable mission was as Miles, where we have to chase Black Cat, who is also trying to get away from Kraven. The game is doing a really good job of making Kraven seem like a threat. Eventually Black Cat ends up leaving and going to Paris.
Bye, Felicia.
But at least we get to keep her stolen wand. Oh, well I guess we don't. Wong took it back. There's then a bit of variety in the game, as Miles gets to be a DJ in a mini level courtesy of Mysterio, and Peter, Harry and MJ go on a few rides and do a few games at the theme park before an attack happens on Tombstone. Peter jumps into action, but also surprisingly so does Harry, using his symbiote powers. It was around this time I also started to look at my power-ups. You can increase your stats, upgrade your gadgets, and also increase skills for either Peter or Miles, or general skills for them both. And like lots of things, I'll just keep upgrading all of these and increasing them as I play throughout the game. I also started to see another side mission appear on the map, with these spider bots to collect in each area. Anyway, it feels about time for a new trophy, and that's what happened next, as I did a side mission with Peter named A New Adventure. Here we meet a local named Howard, who asks us to fly his pigeons to a new home. We do that, but on returning back, Howard is sadly no longer with us. At least we honoured his last wish. I then decided to try and clear all of the Sandman crystals. After clearing the last on the map, we are then given a location of one final one. This is a long fight, and just as a side note, I do love this animated style of suit for Miles I have on here. This is probably my top 3 favourite suits for the entire game. We then get the final message, and it is one for his daughter. Miles phones Sandman, who's been arrested, to tell him he has all the messages, and he agrees to go and deliver these to his daughter. We travel across the map to do that, and that gives us Trophy 6, Grains of Time. I then follow this up by taking the last photo for Robbie and getting the trophy New York, New York. And then my good roll continues when I get another trophy I didn't even realise I was getting. And this was by continuing the story, I got the Slackline trophy. You get this for taking down 25 enemies using the spider wire. I did find this gadget incredibly useful, so it's not surprising that I got this pretty quickly through the playthrough. The mission that I got this on was also a good one. We team up with Harry to save Tombstone, and I like that Tombstone's getting a second chance and turning himself around. People can change.
People can change. People can change.
As this mission ends, we give Harry a fist bump, and look at that, the symbiote likes Peter. I wonder if that'll play into the rest of the game. I then decide to get another set of side missions done, and got the final Prowler location on the map with Miles. This then gives us another final location, and it sends us back home. Miles initially thinks that his uncle is breaking into his apartment, which wouldn't really make sense if he gave us clues to say he's doing that, but instead it turns out that he's bought the apartment above us. We also get given an upgrade to Miles' camouflage technology for this, but more importantly, we also get Trophy 9, co-signing. The next thing I did doesn't really play an important part or give us a trophy, but I'll mention this bike ride I did as Peter as part of the science experiments, just because I like this level, it was fun. I also then started to get the Mysterio's Mysteriums unlocked on the map. I do these periodically for the next few hours, but if you'd like to see a run through of these in more detail, I've already done a separate upload of this on me getting the gold medal in each of them, so please check that out if that sounds like something you'd like. There are also now some hunter blinds on the map, which are areas held by Kraven's crew, and a new side mission named The Flame. I do The Flame, and it turns out it's a cult we need to take out, and it will be a multi-mission side quest. Fortunately in this we realise we won't be doing it alone, and we find out that also hunting the cult is our friend Rafe. I then did some more side missions named Brooklyn Visions as Miles, where I helped some local students. This is definitely worth it as they give me this nifty suit for doing it, and also trophy number 10, Brooklyn Pride. Soon after this I learn I can do a Mega Venom Blast as Miles, where I can take out everyone close to him. And I also start some Harlem side missions, helping a shop owner who has had some instruments stolen. Turns out the robbery was masterminded by one of the workers, Darren. We then get to visit the Music History Museum, and this game just packs in so much detail in parts most other games wouldn't. We get to walk around here, learn facts about the music of the area, before eventually dancing with our mum, and getting the trophy, My Community. Soon after this I was given another side mission that isn't really important to the overall plot, but I did love that we played one level as Hayley. We had painted some murals, but the level does a lot with silence, putting you in the world as Hayley experienced it. And I just found it really well done, and it's only a quick level, but it was a nice change of pace from the rest of the game. Then it was another surprise trophy time. As I was fighting in a random fight in the street I had just seen, after dropping this gentleman off at the ambulance, I got a pop for Resourceful. Turns out this fight got me to a total of 10,000 tech parts collected. I then do some hunter binds, and these don't seem too tricky. I do enjoy the stealth parts of the game, it's maybe my favourite bit, so these are very much my jam. But I find out after doing a few that there is a next step, and these just unlock the location of a hunter base. I don't do this yet though, I instead felt upgraded enough to tackle the final Mysterium challenges. And then that last Mysterio fight, I find out the twist that Mysterio is not behind it. Then we get the trophy behind the masks, and also this snazzy looking new suit. Carrying on with the main story, there's then a mission where we're MJ. We need to sneak around a zoo that Kraven has taken over, and he's holding Dr. Connors hostage. Unfortunately though, we're too late getting through it, and Kraven injects Dr. Connors and turns him back into the lizard. Peter and Harry finally turn up, but they're not much help and Peter is quickly stabbed. He is saved though as the symbiote leaves Harry and goes on to Peter. It's sad times for all the characters, but a good time for me as this gives me Trophy 14, a new suit. We do a mission with Peter investigating Kraven, and the game gets top marks as we are able to give this tiger, Dima, some scritches. This leads to a fight between Peter and Kraven, and we learn that the symbiote doesn't like loud noises, but Peter still manages to pinch the cure for Dr. Connors and manages to escape. I then did a hunter base, and wow, these just have a lot of enemies. Stealthily going through these is just incredibly fun. With Peter, I was just doing a fight I came across in the street, and I got another surprise trophy. This time it's armed and dangerous. This was for taking out 100 enemies using the spider arms power-ups. I was then doing some more fights as Peter at another hunter's base and got the trophy Surge for using his new symbiote powers. To get this, you need to use the symbiote powers during a symbiote surge 25 times. That sounds complicated, but it's just using your special attacks 25 times after pressing in L3 and R3. I decided to go through all the hunter blinds and bases just because I like doing these, and I earned enough rare tech parts to completely finish upgrading all my gadgets. This makes fighting a lot easier going forward and also gives me the trophy to the max. We then just have one last hunter's base left and we go get them and take them all out. This gives us trophy 18, Seek and Destroy, and we get another trendy outfit for both Miles and Peter. I then tried some new side missions where you have to fly and chase these drone bird things. These contain stolen identities for different people, and it's a bit of a mystery we need to figure out. I did a few of them and then went on to do another friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man mission. This is where an elderly visually impaired lady named Alma has been hearing noises from a large animal. We track them down and find out it's a large robot dog. This leads us to fighting several of these, but after the fight, our boy Ganke is able to reprogram one of the dogs, and we take it back to Alma, and she has a high-tech new guide dog. This also gives us a friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man trophy for finishing all these side missions. The next important main story part I'll cover is chasing down Lizard.
Lizard, 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 lizard.
It's really enjoyable on the water skiing parts, and I do enjoy the missions where Peter and Miles team up. Although in this one, Peter is slowly becoming a bit more of a jerk with his symbiote effect. Unfortunately, we don't catch the lizard this time. In the end, they sneak off into the sewer. Before continuing the main story, I decided to finish the last drone chase on the map. This then unlocked one final one which we get to chase. Then this gives us a final location to figure out who is behind it. We travel to the house and a few of Kraven's thugs are there who we take out. We enter the house, look around, and when we get to the basement, we realise this has been set up by Chameleon. And not only is it just Chameleon, but again, spoiler alert, he's only Kraven's brother. We leave and see that Chameleon has been watching Miles from afar in the house all this time. This gets us the trophy Data Collector, and I enjoyed this side story. I mean, I know there is obviously a huge wealth of source material, but the game does a great job fleshing out all the world and filling in all the backgrounds and connections to the characters. Next up, I decided to start knocking out the capturing of the spider bots. This is a lot easier after I upgrade my traversal skills, and they now start showing up on the minimap as I get near them. After catching them all, we get a call from Ganke, who has been able to decode where the bots are coming from, and we head there. We arrive, and it is someone named Delilah, who arrives in a portal from another dimension. She takes the bots from us, but we do get the trophy, Funky Wireless Protocols. Back to the main mission, and I finally decide to go in the sewer to fight Lizard. This is a tough fight, and the symbiote might be making Peter lose his identity, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't thankful I could do more powerful moves with it. We eventually cure Dr. Connors, and he is grateful, but not so happy with our symbiote powers, and tells us we need to give them up. Peter just says, "Nah, you're alright," and we get a trophy medicine for doing this. Someone else not happy that Peter won't give up the powers is Harry, as without the symbiote his illness has returned. Realising Peter has changed, Miles and MJ go to track him down. Miles fights all these Kraven goons to distract them, and MJ chases Peter into a tunnel. This goes terribly as Peter flips and chases MJ, and Miles gets captured by Kraven. Miles fights to escape from Kraven's lair, and in there it's surprise trophy time as I get evolved for using his evolved venom abilities to take out my 100th enemy. This then leads to a fight for Miles against Martin Lee, or Mr. Negative, the man who killed his father. This starts like a normal fight, but Mr. Negative soon changes our reality, making this yet again something new and different. We also learn a new ability named Reverse Flux during the fight, and doing this gives us the trophy Overdrive. Then, when we win the fight, we actually help Martin Lee to escape. Miles is a good egg doing this after all Martin Lee's done. It also gives us another trophy named Another Way. In the open world, we can now only be Peter whilst Miles is captured, and I don't like being limited, so I jump straight back into continuing on with the main story. Peter finds Kraven and fights him. He is getting a bit too eager with the fighting though, and it looks like he may kill him, so Miles stops Peter, leading to a fight between those two. And in the words of good old JR, this is a slobber knocker. I mean, I know they're both heroes, but it's kinda what you've wanted to happen all game, and it's great when it finally does. Surprisingly, even though he is powered up by symbiotes, Peter loses to Miles and ends up ripping it all off. This gives us the trophy The Great Hunt, and it also gives us enough XP that we have reached the top skill level, so now we get the trophy Amazing. Peter agrees to take the symbiote to Dr. Connors to destroy it, but unfortunately this is not good with Harry, who ends up getting hold of it. This does end up giving us an incredibly cool level though, where we get to play as Harry, or as he is now, Venom. Harry is pretty much taken over by Venom's personality immediately. When we're fighting these, they don't look like battles the guards will be walking away from. Venom then finds Kraven and finishes what Peter couldn't by chomping his head off. He then starts to take over the city with his symbiote, and this gives us the trophy Leave Us Alone. These symbiote nests now are on the map and a new side mission that we can do. Before tackling that though, I decide to finish the Flame story. As we fight the Flame cult, I can't really explain why, but these aren't my favourite enemies. Maybe it's the characters, or maybe it's because this storyline doesn't really finish. I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. I do like Wraith as a character though, she's the best thing about these. The Flame end up getting some symbiote and turn the tides on Spider-Man and actually leave us burning, whilst they tease what they'll be in probably the future sequel. Thankfully, Wraith decides to let them go and saves Peter instead, and this gives us trophy 29, Crimson Hour. I decide to do some symbiote nests, and this gives me enough hero points to get our final upgrades, and that's a trophy for Fully Loaded. These symbiote nests get pretty tough, especially when these big brute type symbiotes appear. I then unlock a few more costumes, and I just have one left to unlock for each of the two lads now. I quite like these Wolverine costumes for Miles, but I stick with the Across the Spider-Verse one for now. Things take another big turn in the main story, as now MJ becomes infected with symbiote and she becomes Scream. With all my upgrades and gadgets, this fight was probably easier than it should have been. I might have been a bit overpowered for this. I do really love the look of MJ as this character though. We beat MJ and she fights off the symbiote, and she's just really mentally strong, this character. She's got some good mental health there. And this also gives us the trophy I Quit. I then fight some symbiotes in a team up level with Peter and Miles. I'm going for the Spider Noir look with this. As a side note, I'm genuinely looking forward to that new Nicolas Cage series coming up for Spider Noir. I think it could be something really special. The whole map is now looking really cool covered in this. It's definitely feeling like we're entering the end game. We're getting overrun with enemies, but we get some help when Martin Lee turns up and gives us a hand. Peter is still struggling though, and it's because there's some remnants of symbiote inside him. So now Mr. Negative says he will enter inside of Peter.
Okay, you know what you do? You buy yourself a tape recorder, you just record yourself for a whole day. I think you're going to be surprised at some of your phrasing.
Being a good buddy, Miles also wants to save Peter, and it's a right mess in here. There's a big demon they have to chase. The fights in here also get really good. They have this never-ending wave feel, and just because the fight mechanics are so well designed, it just is really enjoyable to do. It works out, and now Peter no longer has any traces of Venom inside him. It's instead been turned into Anti-Venom, and we now have a snazzy new suit, and we're highly powerful. But most importantly, we get Trophy 32, Antidote. It's then double trophy time as I take out the last symbiote nest, giving me Exterminator, and this was also the last side quest on the map, so I get Superior for 100% in each district. I also unlocked the last suit for Miles, so it's just one more left for Peter for me to unlock. The whole map is now chaos everywhere, so it's time to head for the last level. Miles has his special last level suit on, and it's looking good. The last level starts with Miles having a fight, then actually travelling into a symbiote nest to travel through it. We then switch to MJ surprisingly. I do enjoy using a gun in her levels though, have some of that. It's then over to Peter because obviously it would be a massive disappointment if we weren't him in the last level. And it's time for a fight, Anti-Venom versus Venom. The fight is quite a long one, but surprisingly Venom sprouts wings and flies off holding Peter. I didn't even know he could do that. Then back to Miles, and he has a fight against Flying Venom. Peter joins in and rubs Venom's face, and we get to see Harry again. Peter, Miles and MJ then all work with Harry as they all agree to get the symbiote off him. They do, and good news, the city is back to normal, but bad news, this does make Harry's heart stop. Fortunately, Miles is able to do a Venom punch, and it just manages to restart Harry's heart, albeit he's in a coma. We then get some end credit scenes, and I didn't know if I should spoil them or not. But as I've spoiled everything else so far, why not? But I will be brief. Norman Osborn gets to meet Doc Ock, and we also get a teaser for a potential new hero in the next game, Cindy Moon. And obviously doing the last level gets us another trophy, it's Heal the World. That's trophy 35, but as you can see there's 42, so now it's time to clean up the rest. First up is one final science experiment appears on the map for us to do. It's one of these genome type ones, and I don't know what happened here, I must have been tired, but this takes me ages. I finally get it done though, and this gives us trophies 36 and 37. We get Foundational for doing the last experiment, and we also get kitted out as it gives us Peter's last costume. Next up, I visit the cemetery as Peter, and this is another thing that takes me way longer than it should. I mooch around for ages looking for Aunt May's grave. I thought I found it, but it turns out it was Miles' dad. But soon after this we find the right one and get the trophy, You Know What to Do. Next one is a trophy right on the other side of the map where you have to run a home run in the baseball stadium. And for this you get the trophy Home Run. I do like when things are named exactly what they are. I then had to look up how to get the next trophy as I had no idea how long this would take otherwise. But we have to find the science trophy Miles and Finn won together. It's been a while since I played the Miles Morales game, so I can't remember if this location is from that, but to get it I had to get up here, and there it is. We got the trophy, Just Let Go. One trophy left to unlock, the Platinum, and it's Saw, and you get this by flying from the financial district to Astoria. I wanted to start as high as I could to do the flight. I thought instead of watching the flight, you could maybe listen to some music. I was thinking of playing the Freebird song whilst flying. Unfortunately that's copyrighted, so unless I win the lottery before editing, I'm not going to afford that. Hello, this is me from the future, I didn't win it. So instead, here's my thoughts on the game whilst you watch, and I don't think it's too surprising to say that I love this game. I think it will be easy to start with what doesn't work for me, as that's a much smaller section. There's a good variety in the game, and the story is very detailed, but sometimes to its detriment. There were some bits, particularly when Peter and Harry were just catching up early on, where there was lots of dialogue and slow scenes of us travelling together. It was similar in the theme park. You have all the mini-games, and it's good to see the characters bond. But the rest of the game is so fast-paced, these do feel like they slow it down a bit. It is good to have moments to let you breathe with the characters, but these parts maybe go on a touch too long. I found myself just wanting them to hurry up, then I could go back to swinging and fighting. I can't really explain why, as there's lots of long cutscenes, but the voice acting and writing were great in these. It just tended to be in the levels where you're restricted and can't move fast that I felt a bit frustrated. The game also does a great job building Venom and Kraven as two different storylines that eventually combine. And I do like how they build Kraven as a threat by having him pick off other villains, but it does seem a bit of a shame that some of them are a bit overlooked, especially some like Vulture who were just killed by him off screen. Finally, I mentioned it earlier, but the Flame side quest just wasn't for me. I know it's building for something that will likely be in the sequel, and they set up a new character, but the cult just kind of annoyed me. And despite lots of crazy things happening, it just didn't mesh in with the rest of the world for me. So, what did work for me then? And it's pretty much everything else. The voice acting, writing and animation was some of the best I've ever experienced in a game. You really get to care about the characters as it goes on. Despite Miles and Peter both being Spider-Men, they're still very different characters with their own strengths and weaknesses. It did seem a nice bonus getting to play as other people briefly too. The Venom level is fun and just a bit of chaos. With MJ, the first time you her, it may go on a touch too long, but once she gets the gun, it's just fun. And I've already mentioned the Haley level. That's only short, but it just felt like a perfect few minutes. In terms of the game mechanics, like all the Spider-Man games, these are again perfect. They had already perfected the swinging and fighting in the previous two, but adding the flying here is also just amazing how it handles, as you can see here from me flying. I also just love the attention given to some characters. I do know some of the Spider-Man background, but this really made me want to read more of the comics and get to know even more about some of them. In terms of characters I liked, I really enjoyed MJ as Scream, and seeing that it was a different character than who's Scream in the comics, I just wanted to find out more about the character because I really liked the design. There's also just so much variety here. In the science missions you can be flying bee drones, riding a bike, or doing various other things, and this variety is good for keeping you engaged. Another strong point were the friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man levels, and the ones with Miles helping the students. Seeing them do little things like the one with Miles helping make a proposal work were just really effective, seeing these small heroic acts, and it's nice to see them in the game where everything else is so much bigger. There's bigger enemies, bigger bosses, and just a bigger scale all round. I don't know what they'll do for the next Spider-Man game, but I kind of hope they scale it back a touch, as I don't want them to try and top this straight away. After introducing Moon at the end, I hope we get a smaller stakes game with just her character, similar to the Miles Morales one where we get a more intimate story and really get to learn about them. In terms of the Platinum journey for this, I've said it before, but the game's an absolute joy. And there we go, we get the Saw trophy, and there's also the Platinum Pop. The game was fun to complete, and every trophy was fun to get. My main criticism with the first Spider-Man game would be that the Taskmaster challenges were too difficult, and it got grindy if you wanted to get top marks on them all. Here, the hardest bit is the Mysterio challenges, but they were just the right manageable type of difficult. Overall then, this is an S-tier game and an S-tier Platinum. It's the first Platinum I've covered on this channel, but I've started strong with this, and it'll be incredibly difficult to beat. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.